Hey guys, John here. I am super excited to have somebody in my car who has never driven a Tesla or Tesla's full self-driving. We're gonna see what the experience is like for Andy. We're gonna take it out on some busy roads right here around rush hour. Andy is open-minded and flexible to test this out, so I'm very thankful. I think it will allow everybody to see kind of what it's like as a first-time user of this technology. Now, you might be wondering, am I comfortable enough to allow somebody to do this? And the answer is yes, because it's gotten that good. So I am on hardware 3. I have a 2019 Model 3, and this is 12.5, the latest version of self-driving. I really hope you guys get it soon, 12.5.1.5. So we're gonna take it out on some roads here. We're gonna drive manually to get it set up into an area, and then let the drive begin.
All right.
From here, what you're gonna do is to turn it on to get into drive, you're gonna hold down on the brake pedal. Yep, and then you're gonna just, that's the drive stalk. Yep, so you're in neutral now, and then you're gonna push down one more time to go into drive. There you go. And you can see it's wanting to close my garage door. So once it reaches a certain range, you have to have HomeLink inside of your car. It will automatically close the garage door. So my garage door is open, so that's perfect. That means as soon as you pull out, which we're clear to go, you can go to the right here, it's going to close my garage door. There it went. Perfect. Great, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come up to this light. Now you're gonna notice, and I wanna hear from you firsthand kind of what your thoughts are here on how it drives and handles.
Yeah, the first thing that I notice, obviously low road noise, very quiet, very calm. When you were turning it around, I was like, yeah, it's almost hard to hear that it's moving.
Left here. What do you notice when you come to a stop here?
Yeah, oh, the braking, holy cow, that is impressive. Like, I have the hybrid Sienna, and there's regenerative braking in that, but it is not to that level. And yeah, I'm not touching brake, and it came to a full stop.
Cool.
I love seeing the traffic go back and forth on the screen.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, isn't it? Yeah, it's fully interactive. You can move around and see all the cars. So what we're gonna do is when this light turns to a green arrow, we're just gonna go left, and then the first neighborhood on the right we're gonna pull in.
Okay.
And then we're just gonna find a side street and park it, and then we'll map out some destinations.
There you go. So I kind of commented earlier, but I was sort of surprised and didn't expect to hit the door button and the window roll down a little bit, and I thought I broke something. Just not having this type of door frame on any of the vehicles I own. But it's kind of a cool, neat feature, just to, hey, you know that it sees that you're trying to get in. At the very least, it is unlocked. There we go.
Right, that surprises a lot of people when they get into the car for the first time. You know, all the way over here, if you don't mind. Great.
Regenerative braking. Ooh, no kidding, one pedal braking or driving. That would have to be accustomed to not to have it float. And
so go left here, and then what I want you to do is, this is 20 mile per hour zone here, but just, if you don't mind, just kind of step on it and then step off of it, just to see the torque.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Yeah, that is fun.
Pretty cool, right?
And almost as much as you accelerate, you decelerate as well. Yeah, that is really impressive. Like that. And I don't know if I just felt it weird, but it's like, feels like it kicks into one speed and then another jolt halfway through or something. That was pretty impressive. Just it's not geared, I assume, so it just goes and goes.
Right. All right, so we are good to go. We've got it dialed in. We're gonna turn around and force the car to go out onto Gulf Road. And this is a very challenging road. The speed is 45 miles an hour, and there's a median. and there's no traffic light. So it's going to have to negotiate with the traffic, and it is 5:12 p.m. right now, so it's going to be a challenge. And then we're going to head over to a grocery store, and then from there to a residential neighborhood, and then the last destination has us then turning left back onto Gulf Road, I believe. It's the same road, but it's another area where we're going to do another unprotected left.
All
so
right.
I'm really putting you to the test here.
I appreciate giving me the easy ones. Awesome.
All right, so manually we can turn it around, and as soon as you're oriented the other way, you can go ahead and turn it on. And to turn on the self-driving, what you do is you just simply single tap down on the right drive stalk and do a full push up that get in reverse. Yep, there's two ways, like there's a hard press up and then there's a single, like a light press up. There you go.
Gotcha.
You got it. Nailed it.
Okay.
Okay, you ready for this self-driving now?
Yep.
I would say let's drive a little bit. Okay, there we go. It rerouted.
Okay.
Perfect. So all you have to do now is single tap down. There we go.
Pretty impressive acceleration from the get-go. Got up to 24 miles an hour. No cars, nothing. See that truck crossing? Yeah, I have this very strong urge to, as they taught us in defensive driving, to hover over the brake pedal, which I'm going to do sort of anyways. It's got its turn signal on. Comes to a nice stop behind the... Oh, that is a weird feeling. Behind where the passengers would walk, the crosswalk. So here we are. We're parked quite a ways back. It's coming forward. Okay, clear to the left, clear to the right.
Oh, we got lucky.
Okay.
Good thing we got two of these.
Yes, exactly. A pretty impressive acceleration to a red light, but the red lights show up. Now-ish. There you go. It sees it. Pay attention to the road, not to the screen that's entertaining me as we drive.
So it wants you to look straight forward. So this version introduces hands-free driving for the first time. And what that means, previously when you saw that blue flashing bar, you had to touch the wheel just a little bit, just to let it know, hey, I'm still here. Yeah, it accelerates pretty decently, doesn't it?
Is this on the aggressive mode or whatever that you talked?
Oh, it is. Yes, it is.
Maybe better for our crossing paths that we're doing here.
I think so. It's the difference is hardly noticeable. You're good. So it's trying to change lanes, and it is blocked right now. So you can see it's waiting, trying to negotiate with the traffic. There's a car right there. It saw that car, slowed down, waited, and then sped up. Look at this, changing two lanes simultaneously, getting all the way over, because coming up here, we're going to be turning right onto Higgins Road.
Yeah. Those, it kind of didn't know what to do or backed off first, and then when it saw a spot to go, it went.
I think when it turned on the turn signal, the other car was like getting nervous, like, because they were kind of in your blind spot, weren't they?
Yep.
And the car was waiting. Are they going to go faster or are they going to slow? And they chose to slow down. And the car then actually sped up a little bit.
Yeah.
And made the lane change there. Little things like that. When I first started testing it, I was just like, I was floored.
Yeah.
It's like, this is insane. Now, back in October of 2021, this intersection right here is an interesting one because it's like an X. It's not a parallel cross. It would miss getting over here early enough because there's not too much distance here to get into the right turn lane.
Yep, so it's coming to a nice controlled turn. Oh, birdie!
I think we just ran over a small birdie.
I hope it ducked its head. I think it's okay.
Usually birds are pretty good. Like they know when they can push it to the last second, don't they?
Yeah.
So here I'm going to edit the trip. We're coming up on that first destination. So since we are not actually going to be stopping there, I will just delete it out of there. And what it's going to do is come forward perfect, and then turn left into this next street, which is Ash Road. So we're going to go through a couple traffic lights. We can pull it over here just to see. We've got 1 traffic light, 2 traffic light, and then that 3rd one.
And I was nervous about the car parked on the side of the road, and I could feel the car go, I don't know if I like that either. And it adjusted a little.
So that's awesome. I wasn't even noticing. I wasn't even paying attention.
So the one thing that we talked about was, it's lane positioning, and it's important to me as a driver to feel comfortable left to right inside the lane. These are really wide lanes, so it's doing a really good job centering. But that's where I felt it. I think it felt crunched by that car that was just out of the drive lane, and almost very naturally kind of moved itself over as well.
Was a car parked? I didn't even see. Were they parked on the side? Or?
It was a car coming out of a parking lot, but they were in the shoulder and maybe only a couple of feet clear of the actual drive lane.
Ah, okay. Interesting. And it actually moved out of the way for them?
I feel it just did a little, really baby kind of move around, which I would have done.
Nice.
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Had it been me.
Yeah, there's all these little tiny subtleties. If there's a big truck in the other lane, it will actually move a little bit away from them.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing it doesn't do right now is avoid potholes. Big nuisance for me.
Do you believe is all the cameras too low to see? Do you think it doesn't have the...
I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think sometimes it just doesn't know. Like, because... I don't know. I mean, you'd think like the contrast. I mean, if you can imagine though, like sometimes it's not a pothole. It's like someone like they used the blacktop patch.
Yeah.
Correct. So it has to know like when it's actually a pothole and when it's not. Little things like that. It can't read signs. So if it said like left turn only between 6 to 9 p.m. or something crazy like that, it would have no idea.
Yep.
But railroad tracks, it will slow down for those. And speed bumps, it also somehow recognizes speed bumps. It does a decent job slowing down for those.
It's interesting because, I mean, most speed bumps are marked, but you would imagine just a black hump would just blend into the road. So to see that is pretty impressive.
Right.
Uh-oh. Somebody getting pulled over.
Oh, that sucks.
Uh-oh. Wasn't me hitting a bird. It was that Subaru.
Thankfully, self-driving is not that erratic, so we're safe for now.
Yes.
One of these days, because it's being trained on humans, and humans do some crazy stuff.
Yep. What this reminds me a lot of is doing, as I was part of a Class A driver's license training with FedEx, you can use the name. They had us go through simulators, and it really was this sort of thing of you're driving down a road like this, and that little walker guy would just zoom across, and he didn't. All right.
That was nice. Get rid of that waypoint. So it's going to pull over because this is where we told it to go. And I just deleted it, so now it's going to take off here. As soon as it recognizes we're good to go.
Alright. Yep, we're good. It checks all its blind spots, but it has none. That's interesting, yeah.
Okay, this is the next true test. This is a tough one. This is a stop sign. It's not a red light. And this is a very busy road. Ooh, that car up there just... They had a great chance to go. Thankfully, it's at the top of a hill. I feel like at some point they're probably going to have to add a light here because this road is very busy. There's a lot of car dealerships on this road, a lot of fancy restaurants. You go a little bit east and you reach Woodfield Mall. There's some high-rise buildings in the area.
Slowing down, thinking it's...
That's nice.
Yeah, just being safe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there we go. Minivan, you gonna back into me? I hope not.
Slowing down for them.
Yeah. She waves us on. I took over for that.
Good call. Okay, now you can turn it back on by tapping down once.
Big tap or little tap?
Oops, you're gonna leave off the brake there. There you go.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, it's not noticing the angry wave, go past me, don't pay attention to me.
Yeah. It can't recognize. That's a big challenge, right? Is like, how do you see people's like
emotions or reactions?
Like she waved you. I mean, I saw it. The cameras in the car probably didn't see it or do anything. Now look at this. It's clear on the left, and we're waiting for traffic on the right to clear out, and it's waiting. So this is good. So we're in, like, there's a right turn lane coming onto this road here. We're jutting out a little bit into that, but we're still safe in a safe position for creeping. But as I mentioned to Andy earlier, the creeping sometimes gets a little bit out of hand, so you do have to be cautious here when you're facing heavy traffic. But so far we're good. Positioning is good. It's like I said, this is going to be a challenging left turn. Now, the good thing here is nobody is behind us. Yes. Now, when someone's behind you, that's when you start getting anxious. Because it's like, okay, but most of the time, they can't see the traffic like you can. Wow.
I touched the wheel, but did not control it. Okay, it did it. And I liked it because there's a car in the middle lane behind us, but it knew that it had space in the left lane to get us into this direction.
Sweet. Success. That is great. I also told Andy earlier, I said, if I pollute your head with now wanting to get a Tesla, please accept my apologies in advance, because the first time I drove a Model S, it was just the regen, really was in the acceleration, I'll have to admit, that made me desire getting a Tesla. And it's expensive, don't get me wrong. Yep. It's expensive to get a Tesla. Now, here in 2024, you can get a used car for, like, I have a friend from a previous company. She picked up a Model 3. It was a 2021 or 2022. She got it for like $17,000, and it only had like 15,000 miles on it. So you can get used Teslas for pretty decent prices now. And I wish I had that when I got this car. That would have been awesome. But if you are considering getting a Tesla, definitely look at the long range cars, because the battery is everything when it comes to an electric car. If you're dealing with a hybrid, you probably have some gas or extra mileage that way. But with a battery, a pure battery car, you have to maximize that range as much as possible. Now, again, it also depends on your driving patterns, right? So if you don't feel that you need the range, you could probably save some money. But I always recommend, if you can make it work, get the long range. And the reason I say that is because if you live in a cold climate, you're going to lose 40% of your battery range in the middle of the winter. And the EPA rated range, so this car, for example, is a 325 mile battery, but realistically it's only maybe 260. So then, during the winter, you drop that down to about 200 or lower. So, and I'm talking about sub-zero temps, by the way. So if you have to drive like 2 hours on any given day in the middle of the winter, you're going to want to have that long-range battery. So coming up here past this light, we're going to be turning right. So I'm surprised it's positioned all the way over to the left, because we need to get over 2 lanes, because it's going to be pulling into this Patel Brothers grocery store. So he just noticed the camera on top of our car. I always forget that's up there.
Thanks for doing a Google Maps update.
Yeah, this little red, that's I have not seen that before. I've only seen that on the route itself. They added this is part of the summer update, they've added weather. And you get an air quality index rating. And only when it's moderate or severe or bad air quality is when that icon shows up. So this is going to be really interesting to close out our drive here, just to see if it can get over 2 lanes. We have quite a bit of traffic behind us built up. So the challenge is, can we negotiate with this traffic and maneuver ourselves through these cars? So it all depends on how courteous the other people are and how willing they are to allow us to change lanes here. See, the car behind us is giving us a little bit of space. It looks like they're willing to allow us to get over. And it's great that the turn signals remained on. It's very clear in its decision.
Yeah.
Oh, steering wheel moved over. Look at that. Got over right away.
It saw the courtesy.
It did. And
do the wave.
Yeah.
The Midwestern wave.
And it's it's waiting until it passes through the intersection to change lanes. Smart. That's really great to see.
Yeah, I don't know if that is illegal or just not a good thing to do safety-wise. I know that has been taught to me in the past of, like, don't change lanes in an intersection.
Right.
It's interesting that
I think that's against the law. I think,
is it?
Yeah. I remember in driver's ed learning that you can't change lanes in the middle of an intersection. Oh, you know one thing I thought of, Andy?
What's that?
When we get to this parking lot, what you can do to get out of the self-driving is either hit the brake or push up on the right drive stalk and in a safe spot so no one's like behind you or no one's around you. But do it kind of near some parking spaces. And what you'll see is the car will slow down, it will come to a stop, and then what you're going to see on the screen, because here it's going to pull into this parking lot, what you're going to see on the screen is a series of choices of parking spaces, and then you can try out the auto park.
Ooh, all right.
Oh, you know what? This parking lot is all diagonal spaces.
Oh no!
So it will not actually allow you to.
We're gonna take over, just because there's
That's
nothing
a good
that
idea.
way.
And it actually will not allow you to auto park because these are slanted.
Okay.
If it's perpendicular parking, that's when it will allow you to park automatically.
I'm wondering if, maybe...
Hopefully in the future they'll add that. Yeah, maybe down here on the left you can see the auto park. Maybe they've got some perpendicular spots up here.
That looks angled. I'm just sort of wondering if you point it correctly.
Yeah, it'd show up in here if you see a spot.
See, we're gonna park really bad. Oh, there's somebody there. Okay, never mind.
Oh, you know what? Try going into that car dealership. We got service and stuff.
Well, it'll see it on the side.
It'll show it right on the graphics here.
Okay. Yeah, I see some potential parking spots there.
Ooh, right here. So slow down for this. Let me see. It's going to show up. See that spot right there?
Yeah.
So then you tap it on the screen and you hit start. And then you let go. What it's going to do is it always backs into the spaces. And what will happen is if you have multiple areas, it will give you multiple options. In this case, we just had one spot to pick. But what's kind of neat, it's like a video game. It's like, choose your own adventure, you know, which spot do you want? Now, this is interesting. It's not centered very nicely, is it?
No. You're way closer to that one than that one.
Yeah, that's not good, is it?
Yeah. But it got in just fine.
It sure did.
Yeah.
So overall, what did you think, Andy?
It's very interesting of getting some familiarity and being comfortable with it, doing what it's doing, knowing how to take over and doing that. I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, the church pose, all sorts of things while it's going to say, okay, what do I do? How do I entertain myself? I did find myself, as I talked before, we were trained to hover over the brake pedal, even as you're going through intersections, to be prepared for anything that kind of happens. And that the more comfortable I got, the more I kind of let my foot down, and I don't know if I feel safe doing that or having that thing, but having my hands off, I felt safer doing that than having my foot not over the brake pedal doing a hover. But yeah, it took a lot of very well-timed, well-placed moves to do what we did. Very much what I think I would have done driving around myself. You know, I would have saw the wave and not gotten somebody grumpy at us. But other than that, I think it did an awesome job.
Cool. Did you feel? I mean, you have a very calm kind of attitude, I would say, or demeanor. Was there any point where you felt anxious or nervous?
The most nervous was backing up here, that we were going to hit that car, and this was, okay, we're backing up to this nice looking Mustang, and I'm like, okay, it's moving a little bit fast. Out in the drive, really probably because I'm not familiar with the car, of maybe seeing some of the cars around us and it was making moves, and I hadn't checked the blind spot yet to know that there was no car there to make that move or over here. So I was certainly...
Oh, sure.
It would turn on its turn signal. I'm going to check my blind spot, and it's already... Because it's already looking at it, right?
Yes.
So there's a couple moments of that. None of it was honestly as fearful as... I didn't know what I was doing in the parking situation. It was going to back into a brand new Mustang. But outside of that, it was a very calming experience. That it did things probably safer in a safer drive than maybe a human would.
Interesting. Did you feel like you were in danger at any point during that drive? Like, I mean, the lane changes maybe caught you off guard a little bit, but did you feel like it was unsafe?
The only time was unsafe, and we mentioned it earlier, was kind of that creeping out onto Gulf Road the second time. That felt a little unsafe in the defensive driving tactic. It's like, stay back, so if somebody goes into that turn lane and their brakes fail or they don't hit the brakes, they'd come crashing into us. But you also needed to creep that far out to see left, to see right, and make that turn. So it seems like an acceptable risk, but also was kind of one of those, like, I'm a little nervous whether I was driving or it was driving, and just the unfamiliarity of it driving was probably a little bit added to that.
Sure. Do you think this is practical enough where you feel like you could get some utility out of it?
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Last question. On a scale of 1 to 10 for, its overall performance, with 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, what would you rate that?
I would probably give it an 8. There were definitely room for improvement, maybe in that creeping mode. It slowed down a couple of spots that I would have just driven right through. But in finding the gaps to move over to a couple of lanes, or even just taking an eye on everything around the car. Definitely, I didn't see a car and it showed up on the screen and then I saw it. Gave me confidence that it knew what it was doing, or it was at least sensing everything that was out there.
But you still didn't feel like it was like 100% polished, like that there was room for error, and that's why you give it an 8?
Yes. Yep. I think it's for an unfamiliar car, an unfamiliar technology in this, my very first drive, it is unnerving to start. So
right.
I'll give
kudos to you to doing this.
I'll give that caveat to begin with. But as soon as I got familiar with it, more calm with it, absolutely, I would have a really hard time not following along, right? Right. If this is really intended to be, at some point they take away the steering wheel, I would be really hard pressed not to check all my blind spot while it's doing all the things that it's doing. Right. So I think there's a lot of that in there of just it's so brand new to me, but. Right. Given its driving dynamics, the couple of things that I would say there's a couple of points that could get better, and then there's just that unfamiliarity piece that probably adds into that 8 out of 10.
Sure, it's definitely a comfort level,
Yes.
and you know, for the first time, not only using the technology but also driving an electric car, fully electric car, I can definitely understand how you wouldn't be completely trusting.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to be doing some obstacle detection, and I'll be taking this version of self-driving back down into the city of Chicago. See ya.
Bye.
I would like to take a quick moment to recognize Peter Helm, who is my latest Patreon member. Thank you so much for joining my site and for supporting me along this journey. It means so much to me. For anybody who does not know Peter, he joined me in Chicago, came over and was able to witness full self-driving firsthand. Definitely, if you haven't seen that video, check out the link above. And for anybody that's considering supporting me, please go over to my Patreon site. It's down in the description. You can get insider information, direct chat with me, and also tips and tricks and upcoming news ahead of everybody else for my latest videos. Thanks everybody. Until next time.